I hope this lav works good. There's like super extra setup. Oh, it's so nice without a passenger. It's fine, you guys aren't going in. It's so nice riding without a passenger. UPS.
Follow you.
Yeah, just follow me. I thought it was gonna be nice out, but there's a slight chill. Oh man. Freaking hate that Juice didn't make this bike come from the factory with fenders or mud guards. For a $3,000 plus bike, they sure skimped out on stuff, making you buy it extra. And of course you can't even buy it because it's out of stock on their website, and it's been out of stock for the past 3 months. And I'm testing the setup with my lav on my GoPro. I'm not sure how well this is gonna work. I noticed with some of my other footage that I probably won't be using is that my voice is super muffled because I'm wearing a full face helmet, and I'm hoping this lav doesn't pick up too much wind noise, but I have it tucked inside my helmet, and we'll just see how well this sound is. Yeah, so I got about 100 miles on this Juice since I got it about a week ago. Hold on, I think my kids are calling me. Yeah. Oh, I love your glasses. Yeah, so yeah, where was I? 100 miles. My experience with e-bikes before this is, of course, the one that my wife is riding, which is a DJ SuperBike. It's a 48 volt, 13 amp hour, and it has about 624 watt hours battery, and it has a rear hub motor as well, rated at 750 watts. I don't know if that's peak or nominal. You can't really find that information, but definitely does not feel like, I think maybe it might be peak wattage on that. Turn left. And then the other bike was the Lectric XP, and I don't think that e-bike needs any introduction because it's one of the best-selling e-bikes that I know of. I mean, they sell about 1,400 units a year. I don't know of any other e-bike manufacturer that can kind of tout those numbers. But the XP was pretty good. I mean, granted, it was only a 500 watt motor, but it did good. And now comparing those two to this one, I mean, there's no contest. I mean, it's obvious why there's such a huge price discrepancy. You get so much more with this bike, but I think over these past 100 miles of riding this, what I'm most impressed with is the range, because with my electric and even the DJ SuperBike, because I'm about 220 pounds, and it kind of kills the battery range because of how heavy I am, and I always had range anxiety anytime we took that bike out further than 10 miles. Definitely the longest circuit we've ever done with our bikes prior to getting this juiced is about a 23-mile circuit, and it was mainly pedaling, or with pedal assist at like 2, and the Lectric and the DJ bike has the same controller, and it has 5 levels of pedal assist. Now, moving on to the juice, it's pretty amazing that I can just stay in sport mode the whole time. When I did a range test, I was able to go about, it was probably about a 40-mile circuit, and I still had more than enough juice left to do another 40-mile circuit. So I think it's fairly accurate when they tout this as a 75-mile plus range bike, or I mean, they tout it as 100-mile range plus, but that's with like optimal conditions, and I live out here in Colorado. It's pretty hilly. There's a lot of ups and downs, and so yeah, you'll use more juice going uphill, but then you kind of save going downhill. So but I mean, because of rider weight and the wind, etc., it just feels like range is a little bit shorter than what they advertise, but that's kind of a given. Oh, there's a car coming. Let's go. Yeah, so I think the thing that's been bugging me the most about this e-bike is the fact that there's no fenders, because everything just kicks up at you, whether it's like dirt, water, mud, wherever you're riding, it's gonna get all over you. And I actually went the wrong way. Sorry, I went the wrong way. Yeah. We're going to UPS to drop off a package. It kind of sucks because I've been looking forward to this item for a while, and it got in and it was damaged. It definitely looked like it was either used and repackaged, so I don't know if it was a refurb, but when I purchased it on Amazon, it said it was a brand new item, and when I got the box, it looked like it was still sealed and brand new, but you never know. And we're gonna jump up on the sidewalk here because this stupid light has a weird sensor and it doesn't pick up on riders at all, so most likely it's gonna skip us and we're gonna have to wait a full rotation. And it looks nice and sunny out today, but it's actually pretty chilly. We're just gonna stick on the sidewalk. I bike on this route all the time, and this is like the dead zone. Nobody walks their dogs or nothing. Every now and then you'll see other people biking, kids heading this way towards like what is it, the rec center. But yeah, I'm going on the grass a little bit. And after this, at the next impasse, I'm just gonna get off the sidewalk because if you guys can see, there's a ton of snow that's still on the ground. It's melting. Actually, I think I'm just gonna jump off right now. And there's my wife and my youngest. They're kind of cruising out with us. We're kind of debating on swapping out her DJ SuperBike for Super 73 S2, because that DJ SuperBike, the seat height is about 32 and a half, 33 inches. And my wife is only 5'0", so it feels a little bit too high for her, especially when we're stopped at a light. She's not able to flat foot it, and it gets tough when we have a passenger, or when she has a passenger. And really wanted to get her a juiced HyperScrambler, but the seat height at 33 inches is still too high for her, even though it's a step through. It's just not a comfortable, or she just doesn't feel comfortable with that ride. So we've been looking at the Super 73 S2, but the thing that has me kind of worried is that range on that bike is pretty trash, surprisingly, from what I've read on Reddit and real world usage from owners who've been getting only about 20 to 25 miles throttle only on that bike, whereas the DJ SuperBike with such a 300 watt hours battery that's 300 watt hours smaller, it's able to match that range, at least with my wife's weight. And granted, that bike was only $1,500 shipped from Amazon, so shipping was free. And of course, the cool thing about that bike is that the manufacturer is located in Canada, so they're fairly responsive. I think they're in Toronto. I kind of let that guy go just because I got my wife and kid, and don't know if they're gonna get impatient or whatnot. One thing that I've noticed from over the past year with 2020 closures of everything here in Colorado, now that restrictions are lifting again, people seem to have forgotten how to drive, and the people that are out on the roads are really aggressive, and they drive in a manner where they act like there's nobody else on the roads and it's just them. And so you gotta be extremely cautious. I try to stick to the sidewalks if possible, even when there's a bike lane, because the great thing is, aside from Denver, Breckenridge, and Boulder, even if there's a bike lane, you're allowed to ride on the sidewalk as long as you're obeying traffic laws that a pedestrian would, and you have to kind of give pedestrians the right of way. But aside from that, that's what's kind of nice about Colorado, is you can kind of stick to the sidewalks even when there's a bike laying on the street. And I personally just hate bike lanes, because that's where all the gunk and shrapnel and whatnot gets pushed off to, and basically you're just like riding your bike over a bunch of junk. I'm just gonna speed up a little bit here. You know, and yeah. Oh, my nose is like super itchy right now. Cool thing is, yeah, so like right here, typically what I like to do when there's a pedestrian that's human powered, I kind of I bring my speed down to like 5 miles an hour, between 5 to 10, which is, as you guys saw, slower than this rate that gentleman was running. You know, I'm at 110 miles now, and it still feels like the seat is not quite broken in yet. It's very uncomfortable. I did do a few night rides. It was probably about a 10 mile, or no, about a 14 mile circuit, at just riding at night. And I gotta say, this headlight is bright. Like, if anyone says that they can't see you, they're either texting while they're driving, or they're flat out lying. Because this headlight is, it's as bright as my truck, and I drive a F-150, or feels just about as bright. I'm a little worried though, because no matter how I adjust it, it just feels like it sits a little high, and the cutoff line isn't very distinct. And so I have a feeling that when I'm riding on the roads and whatnot, I'm totally blinding people going the opposite direction. We're clear. Oh, let's go on this side. I actually thought this guy was my wife and kid, but nope. I think he was wanting a race. Actually, prior to getting e-bikes last year in 2020, I used to be an avid cyclist as well. Hey baby, you look so cool. I love your glasses. Yeah. We used to be avid cyclists, but all of 2019 and prior to that, I biked probably about I want to say 20 to 30 miles a week at a minimum, and if it was the weekend, then we'd usually clock in about 60 miles. But at the beginning of 2020, me wanting to be a weekend warrior, I went and played volleyball at a local indoor volleyball place, and my conditioning just wasn't there, and I jumped up, and at the top of my jump, I just felt something pop in my leg. Like I originally thought someone came under the net and clipped me when I jumped up to hit the ball. But after I rolled around and kind of looked at my knee, I noticed that I couldn't extend it. It was like bent, and then there was like a gap where my knee was supposed to be. At first I thought it was just I just dislocated my knee or whatnot. I don't even know if that's possible, but that's what I thought. I thought it was just dislocated. Fast forward, paramedics, ER, they let me know that I had a complete rupture of my patellar tendon at the tibia. And so basically what they had to do was make it was about a 4 or 5 inch incision on my knee so that they can open it up, drill a few holes in my shin bone, and some other stuff I don't quite remember, but basically I have a metal wire that's always going to be holding my knee together even after my tendon fully heals. And I mean, I've been doing physical therapy for about a year now, a little bit less than a year, because I didn't start PT until about like real PT until summer or April, or yeah, I want to say April of 2020. I mean, I can walk, I can run, but I still notice that my gait is a little off. You can just tell that I have a slight gimp in my step. Come on! Yeah, there's just a little limp in my step when I walk. I try to correct it every night when I work out, because my wife just got a Peloton a few weeks back, and I've been using that to walk and kind of teach myself how to run again, but it's a lot tougher than I thought it is. I think a lot of it is mental. I know that my leg is probably strong enough to just kind of power through it, but mentally I'm just scared of that pain again. Because let me tell you, I thought I knew what pain was until that post-op period of about 8 months post-op. I was still getting a lot of acute pain, and it probably didn't help that I didn't take any of the pain meds, because I was given a prescription with to use Oxy, but I've seen what those prescription drugs have done to other people. So after that first prescription, I got it and never used it. I just kind of stuck to Tylenol and ibuprofen. Yeah, so I mean, I was torturing myself, but at the same time, you know, opioids are no joke. And I always forget to use these turn signals. That's the other thing that I dislike about this, is instead of like, why did they use these like push buttons? Oops, come this way. Like these push buttons for the turn signals. Instead, it would have been better if they just like a capacitive button that when you press it, it'll turn on the blinker for about 5 seconds, because I timed it. That's all you really need, is a blinker for 5 seconds to kind of tell traffic what you're doing. And that would suffice, but no, they opted for something else. Okay, we're gonna park right here, okay? I gotta go return this package real fast. Honey, is the light blinking like it's recording?
Yeah.
Okay, can you put this in the bag? So it's 12:30. Do you want to go back home, or do you want to try to see if Kaiser will let me have my shot early?
We can let you have your shot.
You want to go look? So I think what we'll do is we'll kind of play it by ear and go through that neighborhood. And we'll let this guy go first. And actually, I don't think we can because I don't have my wallet. I think I go home. Yeah, so probably go back home. I think my oldest is probably ready to come home too. She's been at her grandma's house because my mom was an educator for about 20 plus years, and I know I'm not the best at teaching her. You know, I think that's the thing is when it comes to teaching your kids, it's hold on, my wife is talking to me. What'd you say?
I don't think you need it, but we'll just go get it.
Yeah, but yeah, because for my job, for a good portion of about 10 years, I was an informal educator by providing learning opportunities and kind of facilitating workshops for youth and adults. And you know, that's super easy to do. I think it's probably because those workshops, we already come with the understanding that people will have a certain amount of knowledge, and I know with my oldest, she's kindergarten this year, and you know, just teaching her, I just don't have that skill set to kind of do that early childhood literacy. I mean, we read to her every night, tell her stories and all those activities and whatnot, but there's a science to it. So people that say kindergarten teachers and primary school teachers don't do much, they have no idea what they're talking about. But that's just my opinion. I'm pretty sure there's going to be stay-at-home parents that disagree with me, that do the homeschooling thing, and more power to you. But that's just not where my skill sets are. Maybe I'd be able to manage that once they get older, in like junior high or high school, but elementary age, I kind of leave it to those professionals to kind of do it. And we're going a little bit slower right now because there's a nasty headwind we're riding straight into. It's freaking cold as It's a good thing we made our kid wear gloves. Yesterday we went riding with that wind chill. It was probably about 30 degrees or less, because it snowed last night. I mean, the snow didn't stick, because if you know anything about Colorado, it'll snow and the snow will melt immediately the next day. But yeah, we went biking right before the snow was coming in, and yikes, that was cold. We opted not to, because like when we were heading out, it was nice. It wasn't too bad. The cold front didn't move in yet, so it's fairly warm. We didn't need the gloves for the kids, but then as soon as the cold front started coming in, oh my goodness, their hands were frozen, so we had to give them our gloves, and my hands were frozen. I couldn't even control the throttle, so I had to pedal the whole way. I'm gonna go ahead. There's a pedestrian, and like I said, especially with like people that are walking their dogs, you know, I don't want to spook the dogs or nothing, so I typically slow down. Just because I know a lot of people, especially pedestrians, and people that aren't on a bike or a skateboard or scooter or whatnot, they seem to have a grudge against anyone operating a vehicle on these trails, but little do they know that these trails do allow these vehicles on them, these motor assisted vehicles. I'm freezing. I decided to just wear a light sweater, and my arms are pretty numb right now. And the other thing that I kind of noticed, because this is my first time wearing a full face helmet, thank you, is that I didn't realize how much more I need to project my voice when I'm talking to other people. Most of the time I just come out as like a garbled muffle. Yeah, and that was probably about, let's see, a 6-mile ride so far, and my butt is freaking killing me. I'm really hoping that at 500 plus miles that this seat really breaks in, because if this is how it's gonna feel all the time, I don't know if I'm gonna be riding it as much as I usually do. And I think going a little too slow, I never know, because it seems like one of the weaknesses of even this juice bike is that after you've been riding throttle only for a while, there's some slight motor hesitation. When you're say you're up at speed and say 20 miles an hour, and then you drop back down to 15 and you pull the throttle, it kind of hesitates before it turns back on. And of course it's not doing it right now, but I know my wife's e-bike kind of does that quite a bit, and so that's why that's also one of the other reasons why we're wanting to upgrade her bike to something that has like a higher nominal and peak, just so that we know that it was kind of like, you know, designed to handle throttle only on some of these rolling hills. I mean, they're not too bad. Range, most of the trails we take, I think the steepest that we have is probably like a short 10 to 12% grade, but I think what's killer is there's some trails that we take that has like a consistent 4 to 6% grade for like a few miles. Kind of let them go first, have something to look at. But I think one of the best things about this juiced is the torque sensor, because most e-bikes come with just a cadence sensor, and I didn't realize how much better they function with a torque sensor, because you can like leave it in sport mode and just do a really soft pedal, and it's so much easier to control your speed. Whereas with the cadence sensor bikes that just has like the various different pedal assist levels, they like one, that means your speed is going to be right around 7 miles an hour. 2, your speed's going to be about 12-13 miles an hour. 3, you'll jump up to 16. 4 is like 18ish. 5 is about 20 plus, depending on if you unlocked your controller or not. Of course, we didn't unlock the controller on my wife's bike just because we're not speed racing or anything. We're just kind of got these to do the biking that we used to always do, that we couldn't anymore because of my injury last year. And I still gotta do I mean, the way that I'm gonna post my videos on YouTube will be in chronological order, but right now I still need to spend some time to do some nice B-roll of this bike so that kind of highlight it. One of the things that I noticed is Juiced, they do a lot of R&D, as far as I can tell from what the founder kind of posts on YouTube, but their social media and marketing is severely lacking, and that's being generous, just because, I mean, if you compare it to something like Super 73, they have a cult following with, especially in 2020, there were loads and flocks of YouTubers that just started. They were new YouTubers and they just started creating during the beginning of the pandemic, and they all opted for the Super 73. And they have that. They do such an amazing job. It's very similar to Apple, where they market it as a lifestyle first and then e-bike second. So while their e-bikes may not be like top of the line, and for the price, you're kind of paying quite a huge premium for it, but there's just like so many followers, and there's so many people that make aftermarket parts for it, that it's kind of worth it if you know that you're gonna be keeping that bike for a while, and you're gonna want to repair the parts as they wear down. That's one thing that I noticed about juice bikes, is that a lot of the stuff that Tora was able to put on these, at least with like the wear and tear stuff, seems to be custom. So like the motor is custom, and no matter how much I've searched on AliExpress, I haven't been able to find any replacement parts when it comes to like batteries and the motor. And an example is like they have like a proprietary battery for this juice bike, and the replacement costs about $1,500. It's half the cost of a brand new bike. And I know that there's a significant markup because just rebuilding the cell, I got it quoted from a buddy here at a local e-shop in Louisville, and they only quoted about $650-700. So I mean, I know that it's a rebuild and not like brand new cells, but I mean, it is still brand new cells. They're just rebuilding the battery itself. But yeah, that's a huge markup, which, I mean, I understand to a point that, yeah, you're a business, but come on now, that's a huge price gouge. And I mean, for all that I'm nitpicking, I really do enjoy this bike quite a bit. I've been super bummed with how crappy the weather has been, just because I've been wanting to ride. I'm gonna let my wife hit the button because there's a giant puddle over there, and like I said, I don't have fenders. My first ride, that was without fenders, and I went through, it wasn't even a puddle, it was just like water that had melted onto the street after the snow. It was everywhere. It covered the GoPro and everything. So yeah, I'm just trying to be patient and waiting until their fenders come back into stock, but I don't know how many years they're gonna make us wait. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but that's what it feels like. But yeah, I'm excited. Monday, well, it's supposed to be fairly nice most of next week, so I'm thinking I'm gonna ride this to work on Monday. I can't do it Tuesday, it's supposed to snow again on Tuesday, but Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday should be perfect, because it's gonna jump back up to the 70s. I kind of can't wait till tomorrow because it's supposed to be in the 60s tomorrow. Yeah, I think my oldest is gonna be bummed that we went biking without her. I mean, granted, as long as we don't tell her, but chances are her little sister is gonna tell her. It's kind of funny because they're at that age where they're starting to compete with each other, and they get super upset when one does something and the other doesn't get to do it. Try to keep everything as even as possible. You know, I just resurfaced my wife's brakes yesterday, and got rid of that squeak, but it looks like the squeak came back. I'm not sure if it's a rotor thing. On your left. Sorry. I'm not sure if it's the rotors that are not true, but yeah, like I fixed them yesterday. I resurfaced it and cleaned the rotors, and I wasn't getting any more squeak, but it looks like, I mean, I can hear the squeak when she's braking.